you've got to change how you're defining progress. So instead of asking yourself, when are we going to stop arguing? I want you to ask yourself more specific questions that are targeted to the metrics that actually matter. If you're just looking at, do we still fight? Yes or no? You're always going to feel like you're not there yet. You're not asking yourself the right questions. You're not reflecting on the argument. Instead, I want you to ask, did the fight last as long as usual? Was there more or less yelling? Did it escalate slower? Did things de-escalate faster? Did I handle my emotions differently? Did I approach the topic with more calm and clarity? How am I dealing with my triggers? These are all questions that show the growth of your communication. Welcome to the Marriage and Motherhood Podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Perda. As a marriage coach who's married with 3 kids, I know how much parenthood could change a marriage. If flirting, laughing, and having fun together feels like a thing of the past, then I'm here to teach you that marriage doesn't have to feel so hard with your parents, and your marriage can thrive even when you're in the season of raising kids. Whether you're in a good place in your marriage and you just want to continue growing together, or you're wondering if you even like your spouse anymore, this podcast has something for you. Join me here each week as we dive into what it takes to help your marriage grow, and maybe even do a 180. You'll learn ways to handle conflict better, bring that spark back into your relationship, as well as learn how to improve other areas of your life from my lovely guest experts. Are you ready for the next stage of your life and marriage? Let's dive in. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Marriage and Motherhood Podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about communication and what you can do when you feel like everything you try just seems like it's not working, and you are desperately trying to improve communication in your marriage. You just want to have that easeful conversation where you can work through things together, end up stronger as a couple, and just move on with life. Move on to enjoying each other, move on with doing the things that you want to do instead of arguing all the time and feeling like the arguments go nowhere. So, if you're feeling like no matter what you try, the communication still feels broken, you are not alone, okay? So many couples out there are struggling with this because A, they don't teach us how to communicate in school. And you wouldn't know how to communicate unless your parents had great communication and modeled it to you, which is not most people, myself included. I had to learn the hard way. I had to realize that, wow, I really suck at communication. And all of my relationships are experiencing the same challenges no matter who I'm with. So damn, I am the common denominator here. I need to work on the way I communicate. And so I went and learned how to be a better communicator. And now I'm here helping couples out there learn how to fight the right way so that if you are feeling alone in this and feeling like, I don't know what else to try, I don't know if this is just something I should accept or give up, I got you. Okay. There are many women like you who feel stuck in this loop that they're constantly trying to fix things only to leave feeling like they are failing. And it's exhausting. It leaves you feeling hopeless. And I'm hoping by the end of this episode, you're not going to feel like that anymore. Okay. I wanted to share some of the top things that I've been noticing that my female clients have been doing in hopes that it would be the answer and the key to ending their communication problems. They tried to change how they brought up issues by being more calm about it, only to still end up in an argument. They tried to read relationship books, but struggled to get their spouse on board. They tried to say things the right way and still felt like they weren't heard, still felt like the conversation was escalating. They tried to be more loving and give more affection in hopes that their spouse would reciprocate, but it didn't happen. It didn't solve their communication problems. And they tried to avoid conflict. They tried to keep the peace, only to feel resentful because nothing is changing. Okay. If any of these sound familiar, it's not that you're doing something wrong, it's that change happens over time. All of the things that you're trying, minus the avoiding conflict, are great things to do. But change takes time, it takes consistency, it takes patience, it takes compassion. It takes so many things, but what really needs to happen, in addition to trying these healthier ways to go about how you communicate with your spouse to encourage better communication between you two, is to change the way that you are measuring progress. It's very easy to be like, I am trying all these things, I'm doing the work, I'm learning, and I'm applying what I'm learning, and nothing is changing. I don't get it. We're still arguing. If this is your thought process, I want you to just take a deep breath. The struggles that you're experiencing today didn't just happen overnight. This is like years in the making, and they're not just going to change overnight. There's not a switch that you can flick that is going to fix everything. Okay? Progress is often subtle and slow. Like, think about working out, right? If you go to the gym once, you're not going to come out and be like, oh my gosh, look, my waist is snatched, my abs are poking through, my arms are toned. Like, no, right? You often feel the pain before you notice the effort that you put in. You feel sore, but you look in the mirror and you're like, I look the same. It takes months for us to realize the changes in our bodies when we work out. But until we put in the consistent reps, it's not going to happen, right? So if we're like, oh, I don't see the change, then give up, then you're never going to see the change. Okay. Instead of expecting that kind of instantaneous result, you got to stay consistent. And in order for you to be motivated, to remain consistent with applying these changes, utilizing the tools that you're learning here on the show, you've got to change how you're defining progress. So instead of asking yourself, when are we going to stop arguing? When are we finally going to be good at this communication thing? I want you to ask yourself smaller, more specific questions that are targeted to the metrics that actually matter. Okay? Because if you're just looking at as, oh, do we still fight? Yes or no? You're always going to feel like you're not there yet. Okay? But in reality, you probably are making progress. Maybe you're just not realizing that progress because you're not asking yourself the right questions. You're not reflecting on the inner workings that make up the argument. Instead, I want you to ask, did the fight last as long as usual? Was there more or less yelling? Did it escalate slower? Did things de escalate faster? Did I handle my emotions differently? Did I approach the topic with more calm and clarity? How did I respond when I heard something that didn't sit right with me? How am I dealing with my triggers? All of these things. Was I more aware of myself? Did I give myself a timeout when I was starting to feel overwhelmed? Did I call myself out? Did I notice how my husband was feeling in the moment and pivot when I needed to and not feel like I needed to rush the conversation? Was I more of a team player? Did we collaborate more? Was I more respectful? These are all very small questions, but small questions that show the growth of your communication. And the best way to go about this is to start debriefing after your conversations with each other. Debriefing is such a powerful exercise in your relationship because if you're struggling with communication, like communication is such a big thing. There are so many tiny little things that make up an argument. Your arguments are made up of all these small moments of decisions that you guys are each making. Do I escalate this? Do I show compassion? Do I listen? Do I talk over the person? All these things make up the outcome of your conversation. It makes up the difference between, is the conversation going to stay a conversation or is the conversation going to become a full-blown argument? And so the power of debriefing is simply looking at, how do we do? It's looking at something you care about improving and assessing, what changes did we notice about this particular conversation compared to others? What are we working towards? And what did we do well? And what did we not do well? What improvements can we make for next time? As with any issue, Unless you debrief and take it apart and look at it for what it is, and your only measure of success is did we fight or did we not fight, that's going to be really rough for you to stay motivated to continue working on it. And motivation and recognition of progress is what's going to help you continue to work towards improving your communication, to put in those consistent reps, to practice. You're working off of decades of communicating a certain way based on your upbringing, based on your personality, based on your triggers, based on how you feel, based on what you want and what you're not getting, and how you react or not react. And so you need time. You need compassion for yourself. Your husband needs compassion. You need compassion. And in order for you two to keep moving forward, you've got to start debriefing and taking a look at, are we actually making progress? And not looking at the final outcome of it. Because you're going to always have conflict in your marriage, no matter how happy you are. Conflict is going to come up. And so if your measure is, oh my gosh, did we disagree? That is not realistic. Okay. The beautiful thing about you two coming together is that you're not the same person. You're going to disagree. And it's in those moments where you disagree that you get to learn more about yourself and learn more about each other. And then you can decide, how are we going to move forward from this? And that's the growth opportunity. So you want some conflict. What you don't want is arguing. And that is a choice. You know my saying by now, if you are a regular listener of this, or if you're a client of mine, conflict is inevitable, but arguing is a choice. So you can choose not to argue, but it doesn't mean that by choosing not to argue that you won't get into any arguments as you are navigating this process of improving how you communicate. You're going to argue less. Your arguments are going to be less intense. They're going to be shorter, but we have to take a look at the proper metrics. Are you looking at the right things to measure your progress? So I want you to start shifting away from striving for perfection, because it's not going to happen. Because I still have arguments with my husband, maybe like once a year, but they still happen. And I want you to shift more towards, hey, are we growing as a couple? Are we getting stronger? Are we getting to know each other better? Are we understanding ourselves more? Is our emotional intimacy improving? How's our physical intimacy? Because physical intimacy tends to be a result of all other health indicators in your relationship. Because why would we want to be intimate with someone that we don't feel safe with emotionally? Or why would we want to be intimate with someone who we don't know how to have fun with? It is a byproduct of everything else going well. So yeah, maybe you're still having arguments. Fine. But don't think about it in such a binary way of, did we fight or did we not fight, and letting that be the measure of how healthy your relationship is. I want you to ask yourself those questions that I shared earlier. How did the fight go compared to other ones? What are we looking to improve specifically about how we communicate? And did we do it better? If not, okay, how do we do it better next time? Ask yourself, what was especially hard for me in that moment? What did I need from my husband in order for the conversation to turn out differently? What about myself could I have been more considerate of to not let myself get so triggered? To have a deeper capacity to hold discomfort in me, to feel safer and more open, to share how I'm actually feeling and what I actually want. Okay, these are the kinds of questions that will help shift how communication works in your marriage. Okay. And so, as you are navigating the improvement of your communication, because it is a process, here are some coping strategies for you. When you are feeling hopeless, I want you to be more compassionate towards yourself. Give yourself credit for showing up and trying. It is not easy to put yourself in a situation where you know you're going to get triggered and upset. It takes courage to do things that are different, not knowing how it's going to turn out. When everything in your past is telling you this is not a good idea, you're just going to end up in a fight, you're going to end up crying, you're going to end up frustrated and sad, and nothing is going to change, right? Our brains are really good about taking the past and overemphasizing that it's really good at predicting the future. But I want you to use your logical side of your brain and know that the future is not predicted. We have no idea how things are going to go. Maybe this is the time where something's going to improve and something's going to change, and you can build off of that. So I want you to pat yourself on the back and be like, I'm still doing the work. I'm still showing up. I'm still committed to this marriage, and I'm here. And that counts for something. Another thing is, I want you to recognize your wins, no matter how small. Wins add up. It might not feel like it yet because you're like, oh, but we're still fighting a lot. It's okay. You're building the foundation. You're laying the groundwork for healthy communication. Like I said, it doesn't just happen overnight. It's these small building blocks that you're putting down by showing up, by making these little changes, by debriefing and assessing, okay, how can we have done that better? Implementing that continuous improvement mentality. Also, zooming out. How does your communication compare from how it was 6 months ago, a year ago, 5 years ago? Would the past version of you have handled the situation the same way? If the answer is no, that is something to celebrate. Growth is always something to celebrate. My husband and I do this all the time. Whenever we do get into an argument and we both are so committed to like continuous improvement with how we do things in our life together as a couple, as a family, that anytime we have an argument or just whatever, or even an annoyance, and one of us did something that was different, we always call it out and be like, dude, we did that. And we high five each other, or we hug and we kiss and we celebrate it. We romanticize it because it matters. You have to celebrate your growth because it's really easy to be like, oh, we have so far to go. But if you look back, can you notice what you've already accomplished? At one point of your relationship, you probably dreamed of being where you are right now. Can you pause and reflect and realize that and recognize that and acknowledge that? And also, there is help out there, okay? You do not have to figure this out on your own. Sometimes you're going to do your best and feel like, I don't know where to go from here. And that's where working with a professional like a marriage coach like myself is helpful. Because you can gain clarity, you can gain perspective, you can gain additional tools from someone who does this day in, day out, who lives and breathes this type of work and helps others do the same. The fact that you care enough to try means that there's hope. So I want you to start measuring the progress, not in final outcome. I want you to measure it in the tiny wins that you're encountering. The small decisions where you're like, nope, I'm not going to be old me right now in this moment. I'm going to try this other thing. Where you're choosing to pivot for long-term growth. Okay? You are making progress. It just might not feel like it because you're not asking yourself the right questions. You're not debriefing. Okay? And of course, if you want support, reach out. I'm happy to help. Book a free call with me where we can chat, get to know each other, talk about your goals and how I can help you get there. And I'm forever cheering you on, okay? I want you to have the best damn marriage you can have. I want you to feel like your marriage is the least of your worries and that it is a huge positive aspect of your life that helps you thrive in all other areas, okay? That's all I got for you today. If you love this episode, let me know what you're trying and what your biggest takeaway is and how things are going. If you know someone that could benefit from listening to this episode, please send this to them so that they can get the help that they need. And if you have been listening to the show and you just love it, please do me a favor and leave a rating and review. It helps women just like you find this podcast so that they can get the help that they need. Okay? I appreciate you. I love you for listening. You're amazing and you got this. And that's all I have for this episode. I hope that you are taking away a lot and that it gives you hope to try something different, to keep going, because your marriage is worth the fight. I will catch you back here on the next episode. Bye. That's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. If you did, please send me a message over on Instagram at Michelle Perta Coaching to let me know what you loved most about it. Hearing from my listeners is my absolute favorite. And if you've been loving this podcast, please leave a rating and review. This will help people like you find the show and get the help they need. Catch you here on the next episode. Bye.